Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wine with Jimmy, and I am your host, Jimmy Smith. And welcome to another free series here on the exceptionally interesting wines of Georgia. So, yes, this is a multi part series that I'm very excited to bring to you. Here we are looking at part 11 on the red winemaking of this country. So, we have gone through white winemaking, amber winemaking, now touching upon red winemaking. As always, I would love to hear from you. What do you think of the red wines of Georgia? Have you tried the semi-sweet expressions? Do you like Saparavi? Have you tried a European style versus a Qvevri style? Please get in touch. I'd love to hear your comments and questions, thoughts, and theories. Well, let's, without further ado, get stuck into the red winemaking of this wonderful country. Now, to begin with, in Georgia, red wines, as I mentioned, can be made in the sort of classical European method, and that is where we have fermentation and maturation in stainless steel or oak. And then also in the traditional Georgian method, of course, in Qvevri, in those wonderful clay pots. Now, typically for the European style, there will be destemming before crushing or at the same time. And that's because, of course, a major black grape variety is Saparavi, which is a variety which already has enough sort of structure and power behind it. There is a really emerging market of these European styles, making them in semi-carbonic expressions, lighter and fresher, making them in more complex styles, denser, with a lot of wood integration as well. But of course, the real classic expression here is the Qvevri style. Now, many people that start to get into Georgian wine only really think about the amber wines being made in Qvevri, but you could make a white wine in it, you can make a red, and of course, classically, you can make your amber wines as well. So, if the red wine is made in Qvevri, the skin maceration time is actually less for reds than for the amber wines. And it's normally only around 1 month, remembering that amber wines can actually go on to multiple months. Now, as with amber wines, the amount of skin contact is usually higher in the eastern parts of Georgia, such as Kakheti, and less in the sort of central to western areas, so Imereti, Racha towards the north, and the western areas towards the Black Sea. So as we move more to the east, expect a bit more of the Qvevri sort of complexities in the reds, as we would with the amber expressions as well. Going to give you a few labels to actually tell you about some of the legalities and some of the styles that we find with the red winemaking. So, as with the white wines, wines that are labeled with dry, like you see on this label, must have no more than 4 grams per litre of residual sugar. And it's important, really, that they do label with dry. Now, we don't tend to see red wines in somewhere like Spain and France and Italy being labeled as dry because there isn't really any other market of the red wines, or they're very minimal. But really, in Georgia, there is a quite large market of semi sweet red. So it's important, clearly, to make that differentiation on the label. Now, wines from Mukuzani in Kakheti are dry reds made from Saparavi. That's fermented either in tank, barrel, or Qvevri, and they are suitable for barrel aging. And I've got a label of it there. So that's your 13% Georgian Mukuzani dry red wine from Kakheti. Then, of course, you've got your rather large influx of semi sweet wines. And of course, this links very much back to the geographical connection with Russia and the historical connection there, major market for Georgian wines, thus, of course, liking the sugar in these wines. So the semi-sweet red wines, such as the Kanvachkara in the Racha region, or Qvevri, and also Akasheni in Kakheti. All of these three are quite famous. I'm going to go through the first here, which is our Kanvachkara from the Racha area. So traditionally, this is called Kipiani's wine, named after Dmitry Kipiani, who made the wine famous in the 19th century. This is made from the grape variety Alexandrouli, which can have high sugar levels. Now, it's harvested late and fermented to about 14% alcohol. You actually see that this one here is much lower. So potentially, I would say the potential alcohol is kind of 14%. And this is, of course, where they will tend to stop the fermentation to make a semi-sweet wine. So it is artificially stopped by slowing down the fermentation and stopping it by lowering the temperature or by a healthy dose of sulfur dioxide. Now, this is one of the most important styles in terms of volume and exports to Russia. And you'll see Chateau Mokrani there with the appellation of the Kvanchkara, semi-sweet red wine, as you will see. Then further expressions. Now, these two are almost seen as kind of imitation styles to the previous from the Racha area. And these are the Kakheti expressions of semi-sweet wine. So this is the Qvevri and the Akasheni PDOs. Now, they are semi-sweet, made from typically Saparavi, and made again mainly for the Russian market. The Alexandrouli, if it is used, will be blended as well. So you see Akasheni here on the left-hand side. You'll see private reserve, red semi-sweet wine, clearly identifying it there. And then Qvevri as well, red semi-sweet red wine, and from Kakheti, both Kakheti on the label. So our more eastern part of the area. And our final one here, I know this is not red winemaking, but it is from black grapes, normally black grapes. And this is your pink production. So pink wine or rosé is not a common or traditional style in Georgia, but as pink wine production is seeing certain promotion and growth across the world, Georgia is starting to experiment more. And there are more being made today. There are rosés made from red grapes. There are rosés made from mixing red and white grapes. You might see there is one which is the Qvevri, which is made from it's kind of a naturally semi-sweet rosé. And then there is also a Rakatsateli has a pink mutation. So the principal white grape, Rakatsateli, Arcats, has a pink mutation, which is Rakatsateli Vardesperi, or pink Rakatsateli, which can be used to make a pale salmon-colored wine, or sometimes it is aged in Qvevri, so made a little bit more complex. So do look out for that. Okay, well, that brings me to a conclusion on the red wine making. Please do join me for the next series, which are really parts 12 through to 15, going through a real extensive amount of the PDOs. So looking at the key areas, lots of geography, lots of interest in this section, starting, of course, with Kakheti. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. Once again, if you have any comments or questions, have you been to Georgia? Have you been to places like Imereti, the Black Sea region, Racha, Kakheti, or maybe to the city of Tbilisi? Have you tried the red wines? What do you think of them? Do you like the European style more than the Qvevri or vice versa? Then please get in touch. Make sure you click like and you click subscribe. Until next time, I've been Jimmy Smith. Ciao for now. Goodbye.